Hey guys, this is the Aspen Ashley, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we are talking about destiny and fate. So basically, this whole thing came up with me. One, I've just been dealing with the idea of it a lot as of late, of things that you are destined for, things that are simply of fate. And I also find it being brought up in my work life where people are wanting to talk about that. People are wanting to talk about, like, for some, it is feeling destined towards greatness, and others feeling fated towards disaster. And
Mm.
the idea of, do we have control of things? And are we destined to follow some plot that we had no say in? Or do we have a say? And on the flip side of that, how there are very much certain plots that we don't, and giving up that need to try to control it, and understanding that, okay, there's some things I can't control. What I can control is my actions as these things are happening, and learning to be okay with that as well. So, first, before we get into it, let's talk about the definitions of fate and destiny, because I think sometimes people think they're interchangeable, and they're not. So, when we're talking about fate, according to grammar.yourdictionary.com, it is used when we think that, like, there is something pre planned for our futures that we cannot change. Destiny, on the other hand, is talking about something that propels people to act and move towards a certain type of future or thing. So, by definition, fate is outside forces establishing the preordained path to your life, despite what you may or may not want. Destiny, on the other hand, hasn't exactly been determined. There's things that can change. There's things that you can do to help get you closer or further away from this thing. It's kind of like, okay, there's this great destiny, but it is not guaranteed towards you. You have to make decisions, and your decisions can get you closer to that destiny, or you can cheat yourself out of that destiny and get further away. So, Ashley, what is your whole thought on the topic? Like, when I suggested this.
I was thinking about now that I'm glad you gave those definitions because I'm thinking of ways that I have heard it either used interchangeably or like I don't know. Like I'm thinking of ways that I've heard it. Like
Mhm,
it's destiny. It's
mhm,
destined. Which
mhm.
still seems more mystical than
Yeah.
even that, right? But no, when I was initially like really thinking about this, it makes me think of The Alchemist,
Mhm,
of the book The Alchemist, where
mhm.
I think that was a story of destiny. I would say it was a story of destiny because he
Yeah.
had to keep taking steps. Like these
Mhm,
things are getting to the end goal wasn't just gonna come to him if he did nothing.
mhm,
And I guess kind of by the definitions of fate is like it's gonna happen whether you regardless, it's gonna
mhm,
happen.
mhm.
Versus like he had to take steps and then his destiny was intertwined with others. It
Mm.
was like a whole quest.
Yeah. Hero's journey, a whole hero's journey.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I look at it as one of those things where it's like, have you ever had a situation where when it happens, you're mad, but then when you really sit and thought about it, you're like, yeah, nothing I did differently could have stopped this though.
Mm.
Like, yes, maybe if I would got up on time, and maybe if I didn't miss my bus that day, and maybe if I blah, blah. But when you really sit back and think about it, you're like, none of that would have that still would have happened because it had nothing to do with you being late. It had nothing to do with you taking a train instead of taking your car. It had nothing. This was something that was always going to happen, regardless. You
You
would have just got the
saying that
news at home. You would have just got the news first. You would have just blah blah blah. But it was always gonna happen.
you saying that honestly makes me think of The Day We Die because I
Yeah.
literally having doing grief work and having to work with talk with
Final
someone.
Destination.
Mhm. Exactly, about death you know, a lot of times when people pass, especially if it's sudden,
Mhm,
you know, a lot of people go through that, "What if this had been different? And if that had"
mhm.
just exactly what you're describing and
Yeah.
running those types of scenarios, and having to come to the conclusion that if that was their day, there
Mhm.
wasn't a single thing that you could have done. There's nothing you could have done different. It was always going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of, yeah, when you were saying that about family, like, yeah, that's one of those things that's like, it's fated. It will happen. We will all die
Mhm. No,
one day.
word. I'm even like when you were talking about The Alchemist, which I think was an amazing example of destiny, because that's kinda how I think of it. Like he one day got this calling. He was a shepherd. And he just got this call and he's like, "I gotta go," apparently. I don't know, man. But, like, he could have not gone and we wouldn't have had the same outcome. Like, he could have not gone and then the whole book would have been about sheep. Like, that's what the book was gonna be about. But it is that, okay, I'm getting this calling, I'm getting this urge, I'm getting this thing that's telling me to get up and go. And, okay, so I'm gonna take the steps. What the
Yeah.
old folks say, Imma listen to spirit. We're like, "Spirit call, I'm gonna go." But whatever it is, whether it's something spiritual or if it's something that of just like an inner knowing of like, "Bro, I'm not supposed to be just making $30,000 a year." I just no, I refuse to believe. Nope. I something in my spirit tells me I am rich. So, we gotta network. Now I gotta go back to school. Now I gotta hustle. Now when I get off work, I gotta create plans for my own thing. I gotta use there's steps. Somebody gives you the like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," there's more, but it's not just handed to you on a silver platter. You gotta do your part too. You have to do your work too. Yes, that thing might be destined for you, but you can fuck up your destiny. You up here chillaxing, thinking like, "Oh, this is gonna fall in my lap." That's not how destiny works.
You can significantly delay it. I would
Mhm.
say you can definitely significantly delay it, and I think as I was listening to you talk about it too, a part of I think the of destiny of the journey or the process. I keep hearing somebody the saying of like grab destiny by the horns, or I don't is that the saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. It's grabbing it, like you have to seize it.
Mhm.
You have to,
Gotta
but
catch
also
it.
a part.
It's fast. Gotta catch it.
But also a part of the hero's journey is the growth that happens on the journey, right?
Yes. Yes,
So
yes,
that
yes. Let's talk about the growth because everybody wants to get to the end of the book and forget all the hard parts in the middle.
yeah, yeah. Everything along the way was something that is, or was preparing you to get to that destined thing so that you're even in a place to receive it, recognize it, utilize it to its full potential, all
Mhm.
that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when I was younger, something my dad used to say to me often was, "You gotta go through the process." Like, he used to just I could be reading a book and be like, "Ugh, that's enough for today. Gotta go through the process, Chris. Open it back up." It was just something that was said in my household a lot. You gotta go through the process. And I remember that. And I find myself as an adult now using that phrase a lot when people are just like, well, it's hard. Or I don't, why me? And I wanna go through it. And don't get me wrong, have those moments. You're allowed to sit and pout and be like, bro, this is hard though. Like I just wanted my white picket fence of family and us to live in a nice middle class neighborhood, and that's it. And I wanted to go to work. I want to come home, and now you telling me I got a destiny, and now I got to travel the world. The fuck is this about? That's not what I wanted. Like, why? But that is a part of the. I think to try to have the destiny without the growth is you can't call that destiny anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
And unfortunately, I feel like, we forget that part. I think especially in the day of social media where you just like, anybody can be famous. Like I could just make a
Yeah.
TikTok, go and be famous. I have talked to these youngins. I'm only 31. I'm gonna make that very clear. I'm only 31 years old. I'm turning 32 this year. But I'm telling you, even talking to like a 25-year-old makes me feel ancient now
Mm.
because some of the conversations I have to have, and I'm just like, I had a conversation briefly, side note, with a 20, like 5-year-old today, and I had said something about Facebook, and they're like, I don't, I had one in like middle school, but like, and when we don't do, and I just had this whole moment of like, we was around when it was started.
Oh, yeah. No, I literally one of
I
my
was in
young
high school when Facebook became a thing.
Yeah, one of my young people, like, much younger than that, we
Mm,
had that because I think I was trying to understand something from a because they were this damn this sharing password thing that they do.
mhm.
I'm like, "Y'all
They
sharing
they
each other?"
share passwords? With
Girl,
who?
yes, they share like they're friends and just like
Why?
they do stuff like use each other's accounts to talk to other people. They
Oh, oh, okay.
yeah, but like I guess if I was relating it, it would be like, you know how people would do shit like have somebody on three-way and they're like
Mhm.
quiet.
Yeah.
It's like, did you talk about me? Like they're doing shit like that.
I def
I was like, okay, let me see. I was like, I'm trying to put myself back into, and I was like, okay, let me see. Nope, because we didn't have social media by then. She was like, what do you mean? And I was like, girl, Facebook came out when I was in high school. And she was like, what?
Oh,
We
me
didn't.
and you are only 3 years apart. We had MySpace. We had Black Planet. Like, let's
Yeah,
not
and that's what I was saying too. But I was
okay.
trying to, but she don't know, you know. So I was
Yeah,
like, we
yeah.
had this thing called MySpace, and I was like, but it was. And I was like,
You
that's
couldn't
not the
be
point. I'm
like,
trying
Black Planet is where we used to lie about our ages and then talk.
to. So I wasn't going down that, but yeah. So I was like, okay, it's like sharing notes. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it's like reading each other's notes because also they go through each other's messages.
Mhm.
Danielle told me like she gave someone her password so they could keep up her streaks. They do
Her
these things
streaks?
called yeah streaks
What's a
on
streak?
on Snapchat. It's like a running streak so that it doesn't end.
I didn't
That
even know
in
the
20
kids was still on Snapchat. I thought we all evolved and moved on. Maybe just the millennials?
Yeah, but they are
Mm,
still very, very, very active on Snapchat.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I found out last year, but yeah. And so yeah, I was like, Danny, why are you? She was like, so she could keep up with my streaks because I had a track meet and I was doing da, da, da. I'm like, your streaks? Like, what do you? I don't know. But
Girl.
password check notes.
Okay. Yeah, they are. Yeah. I don't even remember what we were talking about originally, if I'm being honest. I know I feel older now, though. Definitely
Shut
feel
up,
older.
Facebook.
Oh, but
You're
yeah,
25
because of
now.
the way that like success is shown to, I think like the younger generation now, like when you talk to them about going through the process, they be like, that was that stuff y'all had to do in the olden times. We don't do processing the rest.
We don't work for things. I
You
don't know if
don't
that's true.
work for things. You are pretty and you get lucky with the algorithm. Catch up.
I don't want to think that because I feel like I just don't want to be that crotchety old person that's like,
What?
you young people never had to work for anything. But sometimes, you know, you do talk to them and it's like,
Yeah,
but then I'm like, was I young and naive like that? I may have
for
been. I may
sure.
have thought, I definitely thought that life would be easier than it has been.
For sure. For sure. I definitely thought you got your degree. Oh, don't let you get a master's. You got your master's degree and immediately made six figures. Like
Money
I,
from the
I
sky.
was 21 coming out of college, like 40,000? Okay, okay. Oh, this ain't nothing. Okay, okay. I'm making my master's. And then that's gonna solve everything. And it just added more debt, y'all. It just added to the problems, if I'm being honest. It apparently it's helping other people. I hear that other people are getting saved. That's great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but so yes, young and naive, yeah. And that's what helps me give grace because every now and then, like also don't let me talk to them about relationships. I'm just always just like, okay, so but
They
I'm
gotta
always
have
like,
it.
yeah,
I just tell myself they gotta have the experience, you know, they gotta go
you.
through it. I remind them when they think it's the end of the world, like, hey, you know, you're a newer human. You haven't done this before. This is a new experience for you. You messed up. It's okay. We're
They get
gonna,
they get so mad when you let them know that, oh girl, 10 years from now, you're gonna be like, girl, what was his last name? Mike. Like Mike
really
was the
will.
guy with the braids. We went to gosh, what is that man's name? They get mad when you tell them, like, girl, you're not gonna remember this man. You're gonna find a YouTube video of him in his
Yeah,
30s still doing what he was doing when y'all dated when y'all was 15, and you're gonna laugh. I
because
promise
age
you
and
this
maturity.
isn't sure. This is 98% probably not your person forever. And it's a good thing. Trust me. 10 years from now, you're
I
gonna be like,
don't
thank
give
you.
examples of just like, think of who you were a year ago.
Mhm.
Think of who you like, look at how much you changed and grew. Like, you're gonna keep doing that and new things. But,
Yes.
I try not to take too much of the happiness from them,
Mhm.
but do try to let them like, "Yeah, this feels really intense. It's new. Look at you, you new human."
Yeah, 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 no, I no longer talk to teenagers about their love lives. They be like, "Russ, I had a boyfriend." I'm like, "Good for you, girl. Okay, where's your mama?" And then I just walk to the kitchen. We're not doing this no more. That new one? Okay. I love it for you. Love it for you. I too think this is the love of your life. All right. All right. Did your mom buy wine? Thought about my business. But yeah, what I was saying with that is like it sometimes we forget about that process piece, especially again when we talk about these words like destined and fate, because it sounds mystical. So we think some like magical shit supposed to happen. Like we supposed to learn about chakras and then open our eyes and we are there. We done activated the crown chakra. What? Destiny happened. And
I'm
then
thinking like, I mean, so you're saying that's not gonna happen?
no, that's not I did not mean to bust your bubble.
'Cause I'm not gonna find just the right pose and the crystal and right and unlock all the whatever the hell it is, the magic of the universe,
Look,
and
look, when I
I can't
found
be
out
manifesting that
obsidian stone is not magical, I was pissed.
hard.
It's protect me from everything.
It makes me think of people with manifesting. They make it like stuff's supposed to fall out the sky because they manifested it.
I don't know. I told you earlier today, my daughter manifested right in front of me, and it blew my mind. We walked into the
But if
grocery
it
store, and she said
was
she wanted a sticker, and I was like, Baby, where am I getting stickers?" And then we walked around, and then I stopped to get me some salmon, and a random person came up to her and was like, "You want a sticker?" She was like, "Yeah." And she wasn't mind blown or anything. She was like, "Yeah," because I told the universe I wanted a sticker, so yeah, a sticker was gonna appear. And I'm just sitting here on the phone with you, like, I think, I think, I think my child is magical. I think my child got powers. How should I use this to my advantage?
Right, and so there's that, but it's also within a realm of, like, reasonableness
Yeah.
versus trying I think I was telling you I heard something, where someone was talking about manifesting in a way where she was saying, like, if it has like, if it don't have anything to do with you,
Mhm.
you can't just draw that in from
Mhm.
nowhere.
Mhm.
And I always think of it because when I try to teach myself patience, I think of like, nope, you manifest and then the universe conspires. Like it has to actually
Mhm.
the pieces and the shit and all the stuff. And you're a part of that process. You got to do your thing too to draw and work these things towards you. And it's not just, I personally don't believe it's just meditating on it for 21 days, or whatever formulas people have come up with.
I literally have up on my wall, y'all can't see me, but I keep turning around as she was talking because I literally have on my wall,
I'm
um
waiting on Kari to walk in. It's
no,
like,
'cause it's usually what happens. But, so I love you because the whole entire universe conspired to help me find you, and it's actually from
that.
The Alchemist, and I have that up
Yeah.
on my wall because I love that idea of, like, I put out there that I wanted this type of love, and the universe conspired with me, like, boom, we got your person. Not I'm sitting here and was like Black Bill Gates. And then I was just like, I want this. And the universe is like, boom, got you, working together in unison because this is already in conjunction with something that was meant for you.
Right, and I think that when we are able to truly manifest things, it's because we are ready for that. Like, that's
Mhm,
why your intention and
mhm.
all that other stuff has to be so firm in alignment
Yeah.
because it's you gotta be ready for it. You gotta be ready to take the steps. You got well, that all that walk like you already got it. Yeah, that means do the work.
Mhm.
Even though your prize hasn't shown up yet. That's what that means
Yeah.
more than
See, and I love that you said that because that's how I think of fake it before you make it. that whole, like, do the work as if you already know the outcome, not like I'm a front who I
Mhm.
am and go broke trying to keep up with the Joneses because I'm faking it till I'm making it. Like, no, the whole fake it till you make it thing is like work hard, hustle like you are already getting that outcome. Like, yes, right now I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not getting whatever. I'm tired. I'm losing my energy, blah, 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 to work to this thing because I really, really want. But I'm working that hard because I already know, I already see the end result of like, and it's gonna be successful and it's gonna give you the financial freedom when you want. You're gonna be able to travel like you want. You're gonna be able to move in the circles you want, blah, blah, blah. That, not that whole
Mhm.
the example that you gave last episode of the person who is, y'all waiting on a check, but real bosses, and you're like, and this person waits on a check. They got a whole ass boss. What is this about? Why are you downing other people when you are in that same boat?
Right. Right, when you also need employment. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But yeah, yeah, that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that other than that, yeah, the work of it.
But I will say on the flip side, I do think, and yeah, no, I do like a little to veer into the esoteric side. But I do also believe in fate. I know me and I think it was Meek actually, if I think about it. We're having this conversation of like the invisible hand and this idea of like feeling like there's like this invisible hand kind of guiding you into certain things. And me and I wanna say it was Nick, had this conversation, and, I got on this topic because the way I had looked at it, I was telling her, like, "There are certain things in my life that all match up, and I can't and it wasn't done on purpose by me." But I look back and I'd be like, "Yeah, I can see why people are like, oh, you must that must have been your thing, and you must have been completely passionate, and blah, blah, blah." For example, I'll start with, like, career-wise. For a long time, I was in forensics, and people used to always ask me like how you got in forensics because I had all these different jobs, background that matched with me being a forensic social worker. Like I originally started off in accounting. I went through a couple majors, but one of those eight was criminal justice. And I ended up switching to social work, and then, all my classes I kept in criminal justice. And just because I liked the classes, they were easy, I was getting A's, I didn't really have to put too much effort into for me, a lot of it felt like common sense. And then I went on to do a master's program, but I had to stop it, I had moved across the country. Life was really hectic, which is really hard for me to, keep up with it, but it was for a criminal justice degree. I actually only have 1 semester away. I need to probably go back and just get that credit while we talking about it. But anyways, criminal my first master's I started was criminal justice. I had to stop. I had 1 more semester to go. And then I moved to Oklahoma. I started working in reentry, working in justice reform in regards to the jails, things such as that. Then I moved to Atlanta, went to grad school, same thing. My first job out was working in that. And then it just kept on. But so by the time I got to my last job in that area, people would ask me, like, oh, can you do a little bio about your background? And then they would read my bio. They're like, yeah, because this makes sense because you've always been passionate about this. Not at all. I just kept falling into places that made it got it to a point where like, yeah, I do have certain expertise in that area now. But for me, it wasn't purposeful. And that seems minor, but there's other things in my life that I felt like looking in the moment, it wasn't things I was doing purposely, but I get to some point where all that's added up, it makes me the perfect candidate for this, or makes a certain situation that I did not anticipate at all literally fit me like a glove. And it wasn't because I was working towards this. I was just again, there was just like this invisible hand making sure you had this experience and this opportunity and you had this education, you met this person and you network with that person, you got that class, you got and to me, while these are happening, these are random things. These are things that I'm like, do I really want to drive to take this training? I didn't even love the training. Why am I? And then I just stumble along, didn't really think much about it. But then again, you come to this point and it makes you the perfect fit for this thing. You have the perfect expertise, the perfect experience, and you're like, damn, how did that work out?
Mhm. I hear you, and my mind is like, "Yeah, but the process," because because
No, but I'm
like, at
saying
each
that
of
is the process.
right, like, at each of those, you had to, like actually grab a hold of whatever it is that you were doing and in order to even be good at it and then move on to the next thing of whatever was coming. But no, I agree with that. Like that's in like the grand design of things, I guess, is fate. And that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that thing that intertwines stuff that just like you said, that the gentle hand that kind of is like, nope, you've got to be here so that you can bump into you here, so that you can do this.
Because while you were saying that though, but like some of the things I did not want to do, I did not want to move to freaking Oklahoma. I did not want that, Ashley. I don't, nothing in my life wanted that. I just, and you know, I've said this on a show several times where I'm like, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm just bullied into things by the universe. I'd be like, I ain't trying to do that. That doesn't look appealing. And still end up there somehow where it's not, it wasn't me being like, yeah, because I'm a rise to the challenge. It was literally me moonwalking over to the left and being gusted by the wind to the right and being like, you here, you gonna sit here and do this. Cause like I think
Hmm.
about it now, even with me and you in therapy, me and you both went to school for therapy, me and you both studied for that, and both of us came out of grad school and at some point was just like, I am not about to be no therapist. I'm not, I'm gonna have to use this for something else.
I did not go to school to be a therapist. I went to be a true social
Okay.
worker.
All right.
Okay, on the front line.
Oh my gosh. Anywho,
Okay.
what I'm saying is that we both got the education that would allow us to do therapy. We both got out of school and was like, I'm not going to be a therapist. I'm going to use this education to do other things that are related to the field, but in a more macro way. And even when me and you both won't end up in therapy, for me, back in therapy, because I did start it immediately after grad school. I think about like, that was not the purpose. Me and you did nothing to make this happen, but life
Listen.
kind of led us back to this place. And it's actually been good.
It has been good.
And people are
Yeah.
getting helped. And there are we and me have both talked about this. Both of us have both met with clients. We were like, I know exactly what that is. I know
Mhm.
exactly. Yep, yep. Oh, baby
And
girl. Yeah, no, we gonna get you through this. I know exactly what to do.
like I mean
Oh,
that's
for
true.
sure.
I think any type of deep human interaction, there's always stuff thrown in there. And so I know for me it has been interesting and therapeutic in its own way to be put in that position. And that's why I would say that it's been good. There's lots of other reasons that I'm just like, this ain't it. Definitely not gonna continue to be it forever. But yeah.
My only
There are
things you don't actively work to get, and you still end up there, and it end up being like, oh, I get why I ended up here for this period of time.
yeah, yeah. But fate. Yes, fate. No, but I get what you're saying. I definitely think, yeah, like we were saying, kind of the grand design of things. There's plenty of things that when you step all the way back, it's like, aha.
Hmm.
And it just kind of feels like, yeah, like some
Master plan.
grandma, right? Like was like
Mhm.
putting these different pieces into place to make sure that all of these boxes would check, which, depending on what you believe, may have been you and your higher self prior to you getting here. Yeah. So depending on what on what you believe. You know, yeah, depends on who wrote that script, you know what I'm saying? I think
Mm.
even when I was a Christian, I still never believed of I believed of in God as more of the clockmaker theory, where it's like you just set it up and let it run its course, and I didn't
Mm.
necessarily believe in, like, divine intervention, but
Mm.
more so, like, it's been set, and there's that.
We are
So
so alike and so different. It's always so fun because I'm the exact opposite. Like religion, you got to get me with some like spooky shit. Don't tell me just normal shit. And there was a guy, he was nice and he talked. Did the man turn water into wine? Yes or no? Like that's how you gonna get me, okay?
Mm. I guess I just yeah, I
Does
was like,
his
yeah,
spirit guys or
well,
okay, the Holy Spirit, whatever, did it talk to him and tell him to do some stuff?
no. And see,
Was
for
there
me, it's
talking
like
animals? Was anything else involved? If you want me to be a part of this.
I hear you, but when I think of it, like, I
Amazing that
think
I'm
of
not in a cult
when
right now. Now that I hear myself talking, like,
it's when people are like, I prayed for some I all this woman giving a testimony literally in church. She was saying Oh. She had needed some money, money was tight, blah, 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 blah. And then she was sitting at the stoplight and bam, somebody hit the back of her car. She said, "Praise God, there go my money." And I was like, into a car accident. Like I just so
God said, "Take off your seatbelt and roll out the car." I didn't know.
I was
I didn't
and I
know God was the character from Call Sal. Didn't know that's who he was dealing.
but, like and I was a little bit young, I don't even remember how old but it took a minute for me to really grasp what she was saying, and I was like, "That is so ridiculous." Like, the fact that people think this is wh and not to say that crazy things, but it was like, "Really?" And from then, I've even again, even as a practicing Christian or whomever, whenever I pray, I'm even praying for stuff.
Mhm.
Like, for, like, specific things, like, I think you supposed to pray for, like, strength and, like, healing and and wisdom and stuff like that, that
Yeah.
will allow you to be what you need to be for the things to come, not necessarily, "I want new shoes."
Yeah, see, I'm the exact opposite. I'm very much like, "Sticker didn't make nobody else life better. She lost it before we even left the store. She got her damn sticker." Think higher. What
Okay.
you wanna get, Ashley? Let's manifest it for you.
I mean, and right now, I
Okay.
mean
Well, see? You asked me that same question, I got a list ready. I mean,
yeah, that's
we
true.
it's happy social worker, but we can say in world hunger. Just but we cool.
You're right. I'm terrible with that. Anytime somebody's like, "If you had $1,000,000 right now, like, what would you do with it?" I'm like, I mean, like, I know what I would do with it, but no, I don't have like a, "Ooh, boom, boom, boom."
The way I have been forced to adult, if I had $1,000,000 right now, I would start with paying off debt. Like, I just no fun things for me. Like, let's just
Yeah,
let's just let's just see
take
what
care of
we gotta
stuff,
fix.
set myself up a little bit comfortable, I don't know. I mean, I get a different house.
Create a retirement fund so old rest don't have to worry. Yeah, yeah. No, no. But make that 3,000,000. We can do some things. We can we
Mhm.
might be able to afford a house in Atlanta, you know? Just
Oh gosh. Either way.
Here's the thing, with the like, even the idea of, like, okay, there's this invisible hand that kinda is tying things together, that's kinda connecting things, so it again, without you even knowing, like, "Oh, you are being set up for greatness." Like, you being set up for all types of and it doesn't have to be greatness, it can be you being set up to get free Chipotle on Tuesday, whatever, but it's like a setup. I think that that's not something you should I wouldn't recommend relying on that. Like, "Yeah,
Oh, no.
I don't have to, something's
Oh, no.
got me, so I don't have to do stuff." Like, no. Again, let's still take in that, like, accountability part of you still gotta work. Yes, there's certain things you could be faithful for, but I also think even with that, I don't think the universe fates fools. Like, the lazy person that's just like, "I'm not gonna do anything, everything's gonna fall in my lap," type of thing. Like, I think with destiny type of thing, like, this could be part of your destiny because you have the stuff to
Right.
make it happen. Like, you got options, you can choose not to, but, like, you have the willpower to push on.
Right.
You
Like,
have
if the
enough common sense to say no to that and yes to this.
if the world needed saving, they wouldn't put it in just, like, anybody's hands.
Yeah, yeah,
They wouldn't assign it to just any old body.
yeah. They're not looking at the roster and going, "No, not this guy named Superman. How about Mark?" Like, no. They're trying to assign it to the people that got the stuff.
Not Mark. Mark could be a great guy. He could have all the qualities.
Save the world. Save the world. I don't know, man. I
There's
never met
also
a Mark that I
probably
thought was capable of saving the world. That's all I'm saying.
I believe there's also probably, like, a secondary plan or something, like, I don't know, if I was designing stuff, I wouldn't just have Mark, I'd have Mark somebody else's fate would be pretty closely aligned and maybe be backup
Look,
if
look, I gotta be honest with you. If I was designing, like if I was guy, I would definitely be that guy that you hate. Like I definitely would be the the example that you gave, where you was just like, and then the car hit me in the back and I got my money. That will be I for fun because I'm a Gemini. I get bored. Like I definitely would be like some good stuff like, oh, this proud social worker who's persevering through or saving the world with her clipboard. Yes, let's grant her. Let's let her win the lottery. But I think I will also be the God that like there's some chick that like, I don't want to work, but I want my bills paid. I'm like, okay, we're gonna introduce her to the future. Like I definitely think I'm gonna be both of those.
Mm,
Just throw some
mhm.
shit in there for the fun of it. How it works out.
Okay, okay. That's like the god of the greatest show ever written, Supernatural. The god the god
Do
that
I
was
have to
on
watch Supernatural now?
anyway, um, the god in there is a writer. He's a writer.
Mhm.
And so he meddles to create he doesn't meddle much. Just he always said well, he always told them, "I created the sandbox and you guys play in it," as a way to say, "I don't meddle. I observe. I might give a hint here and there, but like I really don't get involved." But come to find out in the end, he gets all kinds of fucking involved because he's a
Yeah,
writer. And
yeah,
so he
yeah.
does actually create storylines. And it just so happens that Sam and Dean were his favorite characters. And so he just
That very much
jazzed up the
sounds like
cast.
me. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Right.
Very much would
They were
be the
pretty
God of the
upset about
greatest show
that.
ever. Hmm?
And so they were pretty upset about that. They didn't like finding out that they were just God's playthings, but
Yeah, yeah. And that would be me as a God. So, and that's why that's not a part of my destiny. I don't get to play God.
it's
I was like,
that's
she gonna
valid.
have some of the ratchetest storylines. Let's not give
That
her
is
power.
that is too funny.
She gonna
Yeah,
have the Lauren Hills over here, but she also, yeah, she also got too much love for the ratchets. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna spend some time thinking about that. Of like if truly like if I were creating the grand design, if I was God, like what would I be doing? I definitely know I wouldn't be meddling. I don't care to
Yeah,
meddle in
but
people's
we
lives.
talked about that. You're not curious about humans. So yo, you
No, I'm
wouldn't. Like,
not.
oh,
I'm
they feel
literally
the
not.
same. Oh, cool, cool. That's fine. Anyways, I'm
I
focused
see
on
me looking
boom
down
people.
from heaven like, that's a goddamn shame. Gave them all the resources. Not to say
Meanwhile,
I wouldn't do nothing. I'd help. That's about it. Like, come on, y'all. I'll cool the earth. But y'all do this here again.
mhm.
I'ma
meanwhile,
flood this thing. No, I'm just like
meanwhile, in my earth, I'm the guy that referenced it when they said they should have never gave you fools grills. Anytime they say that, that's the world Russ created. Why did they give them rims? Eh, she wants to see if they like shiny things.
who
My world
knows?
would be the reality TV show of your world.
Okay.
Yeah. Russ's earth is ghetto. Mm. Anyways. And it's funny because I'm not like that in real life. But yeah.
Like, what does that say? Are you like, do
What
you suppress your ratchet?
do I suppress my ratchet?
Is
Probably.
that what you
Probably. Let's not open
Interesting.
that Pandora's box. No, but I'm I I'm just very pro like, let's see what happens. Let's throw some creativity in there. Let's see what people do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that has not always led to great things in the past. I will admit that. But you know,
But as you said, being God is not your destiny.
I
So
don't
you
know,
don't have
man.
to worry about it.
I don't know, man. The more we talk about it, the more I'm talking myself into like, I don't know, can I make that a thing?
This is how people become cult leaders right
I'm
here.
charismatic as fuck. I think I can make it happen.
Yeah.
I can make it happen. It'll be a fun cult. We wouldn't do nothing crazy.
All you gotta do is write a book.
See, and that's where you got me. Like I'm just not doing that. I'm just not.
Oh, no, you're not gonna do that part. Oh, well.
Mm, mm,
I heard
mm, mm.
never mind. I heard about a lady who started like an online cult. It was pretty
Oh,
they exist.
no,
And they just as intense as your standard cult.
no. I want everybody to be free from the idea they need to control everything. I want everybody to just release that idea so we can all just be so much happier. Um, yeah, anti-cult. I think I need to throw that out there now. Just
Okay. Um,
make sure that's explained. So you don't
um,
believe that there's like for you, you're like, no, I don't think this is a visible hand. I don't feel like things are kind of I
no,
don't
I
think
think there
that's something
is.
I can is
You
it something
know,
you notice in your life? Do you ever have a
yeah. Oh,
master plan
absolutely.
moment?
Yes, I definitely believe and like I said, I kind of refer to it as like the just the divine order of things. Like I do believe in that because there are just kind of like you were saying, there are just too many things that have lined up in too many
Mhm.
different ways that it just was like it just I've seen enough to know, you know. And I also know what it feels like when I'm not on that path or when I don't feel like I'm on that path.
Yes.
I've definitely had times in my life where I felt like I was just like beating my head against the wall or like and I tell people if everything is going wrong, like everything, like you really got to reassess something because somewhere you're off. It's not supposed to feel that way.
Mhm.
And I know what it feels like when I'm in more of a flow. So I definitely believe that it's just more I don't think anyone's jumping in and out to intervene along the way. I think it was just kind of set up and I'm here, I guess, on my destiny for doing my little, side projects and journeys and whatnot to different character development.
Doing side adventures.
Yeah, that's what I'm just down here gaining skills and whatever for whatever the hell. I don't know.
I Yeah, no, I think it's, it's like when people ask is nature versus nurture. I think it's a combination of both. I really think it's a combination of both. I do think sometimes there is some type of intervention. There's so many things I think about like I wanted and I wanted to do, and it just felt like I was always being blocked every way in a way that did not make sense. I even think
Mhm.
about like when I first graduated from undergrad, I wanted to immediately go to grad school. There was a grad school near my parents' home, and my parents had just moved into this house that had a mother-in-law suite. And it was its own garage, it had its own entrance. I was like, oh yeah, I could live back with my parents in that way. I got it's the apartment on the property at this point and it was nearby. And they actually was one of the at the time a lot of schools didn't pay for social work in particular to have paid internships, and they required all their sites to have paid internships. So I was like, oh, and I can make money. Bet I'm gonna do this. They denied me, even though my GPA was way higher than what they required. And then I had a friend who like was in extra curricular activities that had a lower GPA than me, had lower test scores than me, and they accepted her. And I remember beating my head, like I emailed them, I called them. I was like, and like trying to figure out like how did I get denied? And I even think about the time like so after that I had a backup school and I was like, okay, cool. I'm just, I'll wait for that backup school to give me, I'm still actually trying to fight them, like, let me in. But in my head, I'm like, okay, it's fine. You got this backup school. The requirements were way less honest. And if I'm being honest, I wanted to go there because I wanted to be in that location and it was fun. It was a fun school. And I was waiting and waiting and didn't hear back from them. I had to call them. Do you know they lost my whole application? They were one of the only schools still that did not have online applications. And so you had to send a whole packet, and they were talking about they only had half my application. I'm like, if you have the packet, you should have the whole thing, unless somebody lost it. And they were like, well, okay, well, you have to have your all your professors rewrite you recommendation papers. And now I was like trying to get in contact with these professors that have whole new students. They're like I was being blocked at every point in ways that did not make sense. So I definitely think intervention is a thing that happens. I feel like there's a couple times in my life, there's a couple things I wanted to do where I was just blocked at every way. I was blocked at every avenue in ways that don't make sense. And then later I was so glad for that blocking. And I was like, oh yeah, that's not was not my idea at all. Glad that happened. So I do think intervention kind of jumps in at points of time, but I don't think you should rely on it. Like you can't just be like, they gonna save me, whoever they is.
Yep. There are people who believe that though.
Yeah.
Or even to get into a doom and gloom state because, like I said earlier, even with certain things, it's like it is fated and there isn't anything that's gonna change it. And so, there's no reason stuck because of
Mhm.
it. So, like, there's no reason to just, well, I accept my fate, and so that means I just do nothing until that happens.
Yeah. And I look at that as a form of self-sabotage. Especially there's some people that, like, there's something you're supposed to be doing. There's something you're supposed to be working towards, but one little thing went wrong, you got knocked down, something was a little bit hard, and they're like, "Well, I'm just gonna sit here and spiral. Imma just sit here and not do nothing. Imma just sit here and not do things I know I'm supposed to do." And because if it's really for me, it's just gonna happen anyway. I can't. So even if I'm wilding out, it's gonna happen. And I'm like, nope, that is self-sabotage. And you know that what that is. You're sabotaging yourself. Have your little pity party, dust yourself off. And now again, that process part, put in the work, put in the effort. That whole if it's meant for me, I think that attitude is meant to be help you motivate you, not meant to keep you stuck.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Like we were saying earlier, you move and you work like it's coming to you. If it's meant to you, it'll be there. If it's not, and that also I think means that it should not feel like you're banging your head against the wall.
Yeah.
It won't be that. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be that. Well, I don't think it's meant to be hard in that way.
Mhm.
And I know there are people who are like, no, because you just gotta, persevere. You just gotta push through and da 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 da. But like, okay, I don't know. Like, you gotta know the difference. I think between process and effort, and no,
Yeah.
and just like the door is closed. But
I'm
if
so
it's for, but like, if if it's for you, you can't. Like, I do believe, like, you can't miss it. Because I used to be worried about that. Like, but how do I not miss it? Like,
mhm.
whatever it is, whatever that opportunity is, that thing I'm supposed to grab a hold of. But I think, yeah, just believing that I can't miss it if it's supposed to come to me takes that anxiety away. That's
Yeah.
why I started trying to think that way of like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't miss it." Like, as long as I'm taking steps, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, but now if I'm sitting down waiting on fate, then I guess it wouldn't come my way, yeah.
Yeah. I yeah, that whole you can't miss it, but I'm also a big believer of like, even if let's say you're pushing towards this thing, you're working hard, you're doing all this stuff, and it's something not meant for you, I think that you do get a nudge. You get that window. You get that
Mhm.
thing. It's not just like we're gonna just keep letting you spin in a circle. I think you don't have to worry about, well, what if I'm pursuing the wrong thing? Because if you are putting in effort and you are trying to charge towards your destiny, even if you get a little blindsided out of a little side road, there's always going to be those windows where it's just like, hey, do you need to make a U-turn?
It makes me think about, like, I keep getting reminded of these different experiences, but I remember there was this woman I used to work with, and she was telling me about her experience working with youth, working with kids.
Mhm.
Said that, like, she was like, I keep trying to get away, and it's like God keeps saying, get back over there, idiot, get back over there.
Mhm.
And it's funny to me because, yeah, like, same. Every time I've tried to be like, I'm not working with kids anymore because I'm a grown up and I do grown up serious work. And that children. It doesn't make any sense. And I keep getting put back in that position. And it's okay.
Mhm.
It's all. It's okay.
Ashley love the kids,
Love the kids. That
and
is
the
true.
kids love her too.
I do. I do. I love the kids and the kids love me. I don't
Yeah.
how we did that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to also which some of the things you were talking about earlier, which was what it feels like when you feel like something's off. I don't feel aligned.
Hmm.
And I think that is so important because I think it's really easy for a lot of people to recognize when they're on the right path. And maybe not all the time, but like that difference. Like this is coming naturally, or this is making me feel better, or this don't make not a lick of sense, but I feel passionate about this. I know I feel this thing telling me like, yep, this is the way to go. But it's harder sometimes for us to not realize like when we're off. And I think it is so important because I feel like I didn't realize until like in my mid 20s when things would feel off. Before, I think I just kept getting like gently nudged in the right direction when I got off. I didn't per se feel it, and I know I didn't because I would have so much resentment. Like I was trying to do this over here.
Mhm.
Why can't I do this over here? Why is this not working? Being angry about it, wanting to hold on to that anger about it, feeling like I was done some type of injustice. And it wasn't until like I feel like I was in my mid 20s where I would be able to just on my own kind of feel that like resistance, kind of feel that like I don't fit in here no more. I feel off doing this thing where I'm working or this person I'm with. It feels off to me now. And now I can actually recognize that. And that took time. It took time.
I feel like for me, it's definitely something I grew up seeing. Like we had, like I just distinctly remember us having a living situation that just needed to change. And the person I was living with kept saying, "Oh," who was very spiritual, very religious, was like, "Oh, God said, that I need to move here. I need to do this." And we didn't do that. And stuff got worse, and it got worse. And it
Mhm.
really was like, I don't know, but it has always stuck in my memory because that's how it was like stuff just kept happening until
Mhm.
we finally moved.
Yeah.
And then after that, like a lot of pieces fell into place, a lot of things worked out
Mhm.
for the better. And it was just like, wow. And that's just always stuck in my mind of like the example of like, I feel like when like I'm getting hit with plagues almost, that it's like, eh,
Mhm.
ain't right. Everything ain't supposed to be going wrong.
Mhm. Mhm. And I don't and I one thing I want to like make sure we throw out there is I don't there's a difference between like everything is going wrong, everything is for off, everything is like a blaring red get out sign beeping in your ear versus things got hard. Because things are gonna be hard. Things being on your path does not mean things don't get hard. That's a part of adulting. It's going to have its hard moments. And I think some discernment in learning, okay, this is hard, but this is a growth hard.
Yeah.
And this is hard as this is going to destroy me hard.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I think learning healthy struggle is important. And that's like we were saying
Mm,
earlier, it's process, it's a part of it. I started thinking about that more again working with youth because that was a practice that they would talk about at the school I worked for where they would talk about just like having like encouraging kids to have healthy struggle.
mm-hmm,
Like allow them to actually work it out and just support them and encourage them along the way, but like not letting that whole like I can't type of
mm-hmm,
thing happen, which a lot of them can kind of get into, but getting used to the idea of like, yep, it's hard. That's okay. We're gonna keep working through it. It's fine. And I think if we had more of that as children, maybe as adults, we could recognize
word.
a little bit more and push through some stuff more.
Hmm. Hmm. I think learning how to push through stuff. I'm thinking like one of the things I really struggled to learn, low key, just learned 3 years ago. Like I knew it in theory, just was not putting it into actions until like 3 years ago. Is like that process of learning how to push through things. And I know for me, it was learning how to not having, your fight or flight mode. Mine was always flight. Things get hard, leave, avoid them, go, like don't. And I'm thinking like even with like communication, where that whole of like avoiding confrontation because or uncomfortable conversations because never learned how to push through uncomfortable feelings.
Hmm.
Never learned how to like it was always if we push through, you push through to the extreme. And I don't want to be that person. I don't like who I am when I push to the extreme. The only other options is to run. And that's what avoiding is. When you try to avoid the thing, all you're doing is running. Hiding under a rock is the same. The person who hid behind the rock is the same as the person that ran out the building. It's the same thing. But for me, that was one of those like learn to push through because I thought I can push through because when it comes to like, I really want this goal, I'm gonna keep going until I get the goal. And I'm gonna keep blah 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 and looking at the different ways of not pushing through, or different ways of not doing the process. Because to me, it was like, well, Again, if I want this job, I'm going to do these steps and da 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 da. Okay, but are you going to then have the uncomfortable conversation, stick through when things are a little bit hard? Or are you going to be like, "Ugh, I'm going to get a new job because I'd rather not just have the conversation." Pushing through looks like different things. You got to figure out what you're pushing through looks like for you. Which pushing through do you have to work on?
Yeah, being in tune. I think that's part of the process overall too, is learning to trust yourself through these things, to
Mm.
know what's what and trust that intuition.
And I think that is so important because we really did not touch on that. I think all of this requires also a trust in self
Hmm. Hmm.
because I think both of them sound silly if you don't trust yourself enough to know, like, am I being pulled? Or like, I don't know, maybe it's just Tuesday. Like, you have to be able to trust yourself to know that, like, no, this feels right. And I trust when I feel stuff. So, boom, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And to your point, I guess when it comes to it, if it's really not the right direction, fate will give you that little nudge in that area or shut that door in your face.
Hmm.
I was, man, this is funny because literally this morning I was listening to the last episode of a podcast that I really enjoyed, and she was talking about her like journey of coming to that decision, but even like how the podcast had started at that time, and she was talking about how like I had this plan and then it was
Hmm.
trumped out, and like but thank goodness because I found all this other great stuff over here, and this is
Hmm.
the path I said I'd never go down,
Hmm.
and now here I am, literally this morning was listening to that, and I was like, yeah, that's how stuff works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I think you have to have lived experience too, though, to be
Oh,
able to
yeah.
draw conclusions.
Yeah. I mean, a
It,
5-year-old and a 40-year-old trusting themselves both make sense to me.
I
One
mean,
has enough experience to be like, okay, this works, and the other one doesn't have enough experience to know that you need experience. So they
I
just
agree with
assume
that.
it
I
works
agree.
that way.
I agree with that. Yeah, but I mean more so to have the, oh look, it did all pan out. But heck, you're right. Maybe if you've been since you were 5 that intuitive to notice, like, oh look at that.
Hmm. Well, I was thinking more so with 5-year-olds is that they don't know that there's another way. Like they don't
Yeah,
know. Like with my
you
daughter,
know
I
they
think
can
about it
fail.
all the time that she is just like so confident for someone who has not done anything yet. But like all she get is encouragement at home, so why wouldn't she be confident? Like nothing has happened in her life yet to show her a reason to not be confident.
Yeah, yeah. And that's good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm blocking shit left and right, trying to prevent things from happening to shake that confidence. But then on the other side of that is that like also with age, you learn to trust yourself. If you're only 22 and you're listening, like, I don't trust myself, like give it time. Sometimes it takes effort and trust yourself. It takes, okay, I'm going to believe this and watching it work out. Kind of, I think you said this last episode, like if you've never had change that worked out in the end, you don't know that change isn't always scary.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes it can be like that with self trust, where if you don't have experience in trusting yourself, well, yeah, it makes sense that we don't have that much self trust. The way you gain it is taking steps and following through and trusting yourself and then pushing through, preserving, going through that process long enough for you to then look back and be like, yeah, I can trust myself because look at all the other times I did and it worked out.
Mhm. Spot on.
So one example though I did want to bring up before we wrap up is when I was looking up, so I went to a couple of different articles because I wanted to make sure I was like correlating fate and destiny with the right thing. And there was an article on Psychology Today called The Essential Secrets of Psychotherapy, Fate, Destiny, and Responsibility. And good article, but in one part, I think a good example of kind of that mixture of fate and destiny is they talked about the story of Beethoven. And in this article, they talk about how Beethoven was like abused and neglected as a child and like just really wanted to like, felt like I want to go on to make music. And just felt a calling to make that music. But in his head, it was like, and I just want to be normal. I just want to hear and have a normal life. And so he did work hard to be quote unquote normal, but was able to play for money and was able to be a musician and have the wife, have the kids, do that normal stuff. And then it took off to the heights that we know Beethoven have today. And he was famous and he was making good money and was enjoying it. And then he started to lose his hearing.
Mm.
And they go on to talk about how Beethoven, then of course he went through his depression, his anger, his whatever stage. And then at some point he was like, nah, F that. I'm destined for greatness. And he like fought that through that, like, okay, I'm going deaf. And he said he made some of his best, most critically acclaimed music as he was going deaf. And I think that story is such a good example of both because he had this idea fate that he was fated to be a musician. And for him, it was just like, no, my fate is for me to make money playing music. And he thought it was going to be at normal level. But some can say fate would have it that he was always destined to be the Beethoven we know today, where like, yes, you're going to make music, but your name is going to go on for centuries after this. And that's not even what he was striving for. He was just like, I want to play the piano and be able to feed my family. And it was like, yeah, not only are you going to do that, you strive for this great thing. But when he was hit with that whole going deaf part, like that could have been the end of it. He already technically reached fame. He already was technically reached high heights, higher heights than he had expected for himself. And that's where destiny kicked in, where he decided, like, no, I'm gonna grab this by the bulls and I'm still gonna want to make music. I'm still gonna want to go hard. And not only did he do that, but like he became more famous after that. That's when he created his greatest stuff. That combination of both, not the chicken, not the egg, not nature, not nurture. It can be both working together.
That's a really good example. I love that you shared that of the two of the combo. Yeah, you can believe that you are fated for something, and you can take the steps towards that
Mm-hmm.
and get what you need along the way of your journey.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Fate
true.
might have brought you to one point, and you might be like, this is cool, I'm comfortable, but it doesn't mean destiny doesn't have something even better for you to work towards.
Okay, now.
Runners high, therapist runners high. I'm telling you, every now and then I have these moments in session. I just be like, yes, yes, write that down. Quote
Yes.
it back to me
Are you taking
vividly.
notes?
These are my greatest hits. Somebody has to record them.
Funny.
Um, yeah, guys, so that is all we have on today's episode. We hope you guys enjoy. If you're listening on iPhone, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, leave us some review with words. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out to us on Instagram at She Wolf Alchemy, or you can email us at shewolfalchemypodcast@gmail.com. Other than that, guys, you will hit a new episode from us next Sunday. Bye.
Boy.